Hello everyone, my name is Mike, and this is TheBoredCyborg. Welcome back to yet another episode. Today I am going to show you guys a couple more smaller, very small, boutique label collections of mine. Today I'm going to go over my Severin stuff and my very few Mondo Macabro releases. So let's not waste any time. I'd love to know what your favorite Mondo Macabro release is and what your favorite Severin release is, so feel free to leave that down in the comments below, and we'll get a little discussion row. Let's jump right into the Mondo Macabro stuff, which I only have 4 releases, to be quite honest, and I've only seen 2. So, the first one up is a really interesting South Korean erotic horror film, directed by Go Young-nam. And it's from 1981 called Suddenly in the Dark. I don't know much about this, but I know it's erotic horror, and I think it's supposed to be kind of bizarre and Lovecraftian. So, but, you know, to have a South Korean horror film from the 80s on Blu-ray is in and of itself pretty amazing. So I'm really looking forward to checking this one out. You guys know how I am with erotic horror. I'm not too crazy about it, but maybe the South Koreans do it right. Maybe the South Koreans do it better than Jess Franco. We'll see. Suddenly in the Dark. Mondo Macabro is pretty minimalistic in terms of like the artwork and stuff, but they always have good special features, interviews, stuff like that. So, pretty cute. Suddenly in the Dark. Next up, Night Has 1,000 Desires. Speak of the devil, this is Jess Franco. This is another erotic horror film that I've yet to see. Maybe it's not so much horror, I'm not exactly sure. But this one is from '84, and it has a cool title and a cool cover, and it's probably garbage because it's directed by Jess Franco. Now, I'm being a bit facetious. You guys know I've talked about the 2 Jess Franco films I've seen in my day. They both suck, Exorcism and Vampiros Lesbos. I hate both of those movies. No artistic value, or very little artistic value. Hopefully Night Has 1,000 Desires impresses. We shall see. Next up, I have seen this. I gotta be honest though, I don't remember shit about this, besides it was really, really boring. And it's a shame because it's Lucio Fulci. I didn't hate it. It looked great. It has that same Fulci ethereal, surreal nature. But it's earlier Fulci. It's before he really started getting into horror. It's from 1971, so it's more... This is definitely a giallo. And Don't Torture a Duckling is Lucio Fulci's masterful giallo. This, not so much. He was still finding his feet, I guess, with the giallo, with the horror subgenre, and this is one of the earliest ones. I know he was doing some spaghetti westerns in the late 60s, 4 Against the Apocalypse or something like that. I forget what that one's called. Either way, A Lizard in Woman's Skin. Not a great title. Not a great cover. Alan Jones from Fright Fest, what up, Alan? Says, Lucio Fulci's masterpiece. Well, that's incorrect. It's all subjective. I'm kidding. But The Beyond! Every film of Fulci's that I've seen is better than this. Either way. I'll give it another whirl at some point. Maybe I was just missing something. A Lizard in a Woman's Skin. And last, certainly not least, this is actually my favorite of the Mondo stuff, or I've only seen 2 of them. This is one of my favorite horror films of all time. All time. Incredible artwork, too. The Fan, also known as Der Fan, also known as Trance, and probably a couple other titles. This is all about a young woman's obsession with a pop singer. In Germany, 1982, further solidifying that 1982 is the greatest year in cinematic history. I will do a video on that one day. The Fan is directed by, let me get his name right, Eckhard Schmidt. And I've not seen any other Eckhard Schmidt films, but this is perfect. This is a masterpiece, in fact. This is perfect. A perfect study, character study, about the obsessive nature of young people in a materialistic society. How they could be obsessive over certain people or things or movies or fans, or, you know, certain fandoms could become toxic. We all know of these ideas now. Creepy, stalky sort of fans. But in 1982, this is way ahead of its time. I mean, was Misery even written at this point? Play Misty for Me, I think, had come out a couple years prior to this. Eastwood's first directed film. But this really is one of the early films dealing with the obsessive nature of young people, or just people in general, when it comes to celebrities. And this has one of the most incredible endings that will just leave an indelible mark burned into your psyche. I mean, I will never forget the ending of this film. It is fantastic. It's actually one of the things preventing me from rewatching it, because it's really disturbing and just lingers. It lingers disturbingly for years now. I mean, it resonates throughout the years what the end of this film entails, what it means. It's multi-layered. It's beautiful and horrific. Der Fan is perfection. Guys, check out Der Fan. It's so good. Then we have the Severin stuff, guys. I've got a good 7 Severin films. 7 Severin films. Like it was meant to be. The most recent acquisition, along with the one that'll be next, is Wax Mask. This is Fulci's last film. Fulci started this film and somebody else finished it. And he doesn't even get a director's credit most of the time. Argento and Fulci wrote the film, I'm pretty sure. Fulci worked on it and then passed away, sadly. So this has remnants of Fulci's vision, and so that's why it's in the collection. Wax Mask is a giallo from the 90s that I've not seen or heard much about, to be honest, so I am looking forward to checking this out. Haven't even cracked it open yet, but you know Severin, they always do such a wonderful job. I love that. Oh, it's just so cool. Either way, Wax Mask is one that I do need to check out soon-ish. Next up, Robo War. Yes, the Italian Predator Terminator ripoff by Bruno Mattei. This movie is a blast. I plan on doing a riff review of this one day. Robo War it's literally a ripoff. Instead of the alien creature and the Predator, we have a robot who sounds like he's malfunctioning usually. Like when he's going to terminate someone, he sounds like Porky Pig. He's like, terminate. I know I sound like a Dalek, but literally he's like, must destroy. Must destroy. It's the craziest. It's only in Italy. This movie has everything that makes an Italian ripoff wonderful. Over-the-top acting, over-the-top gore, questionable technical aspects. Just got everything. I love this movie. It's like Predator, RoboCop, Terminator, all thrown in one. Oh, so over-the-top, so fun. This movie's a blast. Robo War. Check it out. Look at how much is going on that cover. Gloriousness right here. Robo War. Get it. Oh, yeah. Next up, we have Hardware, a film I've talked about multiple times on the channel. This is Richard Stanley. I was going to say Franklin, but that's the Australian director. Richard Stanley, who I believe is... I don't know where he's from, actually. He might be English. He might be American. Richard Stanley's Hardware. This movie is a post-apocalyptic, cyberpunk horror film about a wandering scavenger kind of guy played by Dylan McDermott who sells some parts. He finds parts in the wasteland, sells them, etc., etc. Long story short, this robot with a very patriotic robot with red, white, and blue like stars and stripes on him gets out of hand, goes rogue, and starts wreaking havoc. And that's all I'll really say. This film bleeds, leaks, oozes of atmosphere, palpable atmosphere. Great post-apocalyptic set design, great characters, great lighting, technically a marvel. Awesome music, too. This is what you want, this is what you get. This is what you want, this is what you get. Boom, 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 boom. Like, it's just so badass. Iggy Pop has a vocal cameo in this, of all things, of all people. This movie is amazing technically. It's just the story that always falls short for me. Always. The first half is great, the build-up, the fleshing out of the world that the characters exist in, but the second half is just a romp. And there's not enough chaos or mayhem to justify the throwing away of the story in the second half. That is how I feel about Hardware, but I still really like it. This Blu-ray is really hard to find and out of print. I'm grateful to have it. Hardware. The Devil's Reign! Look at that cover! Hail Satan! Ernest Borgnine plays Satan in this movie. Devil's Reign, it's a crazy movie. William Shatner, Tom Skerritt. It's one of those movies that sort of, it's like a running back in football passing the ball off to somebody else after the 30-minute mark. The film follows a specific character, and then it starts following another character once that character meets his demise. Something weird's going on in this church out in the middle of nowhere, and Ernest Borgnine's character is alluring people and getting people to come to his church and hail Satan, pretty much. This movie is 70s, nihilistic, depraved, and hopeless. It's got one of those endings that is just so incredibly cool. I wish I could talk about it. The credits roll, and we dolly out slowly on a specific image that just lingers. Oh, it goes on. The movie doesn't end as the credits are rolling. It's wonderful. Great effects of the Devil's Reign when we get to see what the Devil's Reign in fact is. People melting, their faces drooping off. It's very satanic, very awesome, very goopy in terms of special effects. Great character actors. Shatner's in this, so you can't go wrong. Even John Travolta, I believe, has a cameo in this. You'll notice him because of his chin. His character actually has blacked out eyes. He doesn't have eyes. It's just eyeless sockets. But you could still recognize Travolta by his little swirly chin, his cleft. Either way, that is The Devil's Reign, 70s to the core. I love this movie. Robert Fuest was the director. I believe Robert Fuest also did Abominable Dr. Phibes? Is that right? Am I mixing that up? The funny part about this, Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan, was a technical assistant on this movie. So, in terms of Satanism, they probably got it pretty close to what it was like in the 70s in Satanist churches, which is just so funny. The Devil's Reign, check this out if you want some 70s nihilistic fun. It's goofy at points, but it's got this overbearing dread to it that just makes it so special. And William Shatner is awesome. Ernest Borgnine is awesome. That is The Devil's Reign. And can you go wrong with that cover? No. No, you cannot. This one I haven't seen. This one I picked up recently, too, from the same Severin sale earlier in the year. Demonia. This is a nunsploitation film directed by Lucio Fulci that I've yet to see. Again, great job here. Make sure there's no tits like there was on Enigma. Great job here by Severin. Upside down cross there. No barcode. Just a beautiful slipcover. I've not broken into the nunsploitation genre, but this will be my, hopefully my gateway drug into the genre, which is a crazy genre. Demonia is Lucio Fulci's admission into that genre. So I will check this out at some point. Don't know much about it, so I can't speak on it. Demonia. Great name. Next up, we have Burial Ground. A lot of people love this movie. Italian horror. Italian zombie horror, super atmospheric, great score, weird-ass characters, surreal plot. But I just didn't love it the first time. I loved its atmosphere, loved the music, loved all that, but again, the story, there just wasn't enough there for me to latch onto the first time. But I am looking forward to checking this one out again, because some people love this film. I follow a couple people on Letterboxd that absolutely love this film. One of them, it's their favorite film of all time. So what am I missing? Maybe it's just me. Maybe I just don't get down with it. Either way, let me see if this has got the director on it. Andrea Bianchi. That's right. Andrea Bianchi is the director. And this one has that creepy little guy named Peter Bark, who I will put a picture of now. Enjoy that. He was a creepy little actor, a little person, I want to say, who played young boys when he was in like his 30s. And it's really weird because he had like a degenerative disease that kept him looking young. It adds to the surrealness when you know it's a grown-ass man, like, nestled in his mother's bosom. It's really, it's bizarre. But it all adds to the weird atmosphere of Burial Ground. I gotta check this one out again at some point. That is Burial Ground. This one I haven't seen in a long time, and I know it's got a very early Michael Dudikoff cameo, or role, and that is Bloody Birthday. This is from 1981, yep, directed by Ed Hunt. And this was really one of the first films I saw in my late teens that dealt with, like, kids murdering and being murdered. I don't remember too much about it, but it was the first, like, killer kids movie I had seen, probably after Children of the Corn, but some of the stuff they do in this was even more, it was a little bit more risque and edgy than what Children of the Corn did. But I really can't speak much about this movie. It's been a really long time. It's one of those, holiday movies, birthday, killer kids, That's all I got. And last but not least, actually, yes, this would be least, in fact, Birdemic! Got a little dusty because it was on the top shelf of the Blu-rays. This is not one you watch annually. This is one you bust out when friends are in town or when your sister or brother is in town. And you buy some beer and get some pizza and watch Birdemic. One of the worst films of all time. The worst utilization of special effects in any movie that I've ever seen that was trying to take itself seriously. I'm pretty sure this movie was taking itself seriously, at least the filmmakers. There are these scenes of these birds, Birdemic, flying, and they're just one bird copy and pasted like a dozen times, and they're all flying like in unison, and it looks so bad. There's no angle, there's no perspective, it just looks terrible. It's like the birds, but if Alfred Hitchcock was doing crystal meth while making the birds. That is Birdemic. It's gloriously bad. It's one of the worst films of all time. Birdemic. Severin released this years and years ago. This was the first, in fact, Severin release that I picked up at the old bookstore I used to work at, Ed McKay. So that is Birdemic. I just want to thank you all for checking out this little boutique label sub-collection video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'd love to know what your Severin collections look like, which ones you own, what's your favorite. Same thing with Mondo Macabro. Feel free to leave that down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel and want to see more videos like it, go ahead and hit the subscribe button as well as the little bell for notifications. Anyway, guys, I will see you all next time. TheBoredCyborg is out. Ah! That felt neat.